Structure of antibody. Antibodies are glycoproteins that can recognize and neutralize the microorganisms like bacteria, viruses, protozoans, etc. And they can also neutralize the toxins that are produced by many of these microorganisms. In our body, there are only one type of cells that can produce the antibodies, and these cells are known as B lymphocytes. In our system, antibodies exist in two forms. They form the part of B cell receptors seen attached to the cell membrane of B lymphocytes. They act as the binding site for the antigen, and once activated or once bound by these antigens, these B cell receptors will activate the B lymphocytes, and the B lymphocytes differentiate into the plasma cells and the memory cells and produce the antibodies. So the antibodies that are forming the part of B cell receptors are known as membrane immunoglobulin. Once activated, the B lymphocytes will produce large amount of antibodies, and that can be seen in our blood, serum, tissue fluids, connective tissue, etc. Thus, antibodies exist in two forms, either as the part of the B cell receptor on the surface of B lymphocytes or as the pathogen capturers that are produced by activated B lymphocytes. Studies on the structure of immunoglobulin was carried out by three scientists, Rodney R. Porter, Alfred Nizonov, and Gerald M. Edelman. Initial studies on the structure of immunoglobulin was carried out by Porter. He cleaved the immunoglobulin with the proteolytic enzyme peptane. Alfred Nizonov used another proteolytic enzyme pepsin to cleave the immunoglobulin. The multi-chain nature of immunoglobulin was investigated by Edelman, and it was later confirmed by Porter, and they shared Nobel Prize in 1972 for their investigations on the structure of immunoglobulin. What happens when the immunoglobulin is treated with peptane and pepsin? Porter raised the immunoglobulin IgG in rabbits against egg albumin, and it was treated with peptane. Peptane cleaved the immunoglobulin into two identical Fab fragments and one Fc fragment. Means the cleavage of peptane caused the immunoglobulin to fragment into two fractions. This fraction is known as the soluble fraction, and this fraction is known as the insoluble fraction. The soluble fraction was binding with the egg albumin when it was treated with it, because here the egg albumin is acting as the antigen. At the same time, it was not getting precipitated, but it is binding with the antigen. So this fragment is called the antigen binding fragment. This portion was getting crystallized in the cold conditions, so this is called the crystallizable fragment. The same immunoglobulin was treated with another proteolytic enzyme, pepsin. Another pattern was observed. Here, two FAB fragments were held together, and this fragment is known as FAB prime whole twice. And the FC portion was fragmented into small segments. Here, the FAB prime represents variation from Fab as it contains a few additional amino acids. The difference between the peptane and pepsin cleavage is that peptane is acting at the amino terminus, that is above this disulfide bond that is holding the two heavy chains together, whereas the pepsin is acting at the carboxy terminus that is below the disulfide bond. Later, the multi-chain nature was studied by Edelman. Edelman treated immunoglobulin with mercaptoethanol, which act on the disulfide bonds, not on the polypeptide chain. So the disulfide bonds between the heavy chains and also between the light chain and heavy chain was broken, and two identical chains of 22, approximately 22 kilodalton, and two other identical chains of approximately 52 kilodalton were obtained. And the chains having 22 kilodalton molecular weight were called the light chains, and the other set was called heavy chains. And thus it was found that each immunoglobulin molecule is made up of two identical heavy chains and two identical light chains. So these experiments revealed the structure of antibodies. Thus it is found that immunoglobulins are glycoproteins with four polypeptide chains. Means each molecule has got two pairs of polypeptide chains of different sizes. The smaller chains are called the light chains, and it is having approximately 25,000 Dalton molecular weight. The larger chains are known as the heavy chains, and it is having a molecular weight approximately 50,000 kilodalton. Thus, each immunoglobulin molecule is made up of two identical heavy chains and two identical light chains. Light chain is attached to the heavy chain by a disulfide bond. But two light chains are not attached to each other. Each light chain is attached to the heavy chain. Whereas two heavy chains are attached to each other, but the number of disulfide bond between the heavy chains may range between 1 to 5 depending upon the class of immunoglobulin. Usually these disulfide bonds are formed between cysteine amino acid residues. Coming to the structure of H chains, H chains are structurally and antigenetically distinct for each class and designated by Greek letters. So based on the type of the heavy chain, the immunoglobulins are grouped into 5 different classes. IgG is having the gamma chain, IgA is having the alpha chain, mu chain in the case of IgM, delta chain in IgD, and epsilon in the case of IgE. So based on the type of heavy chain, the antibodies are divided into 5 classes: IgG, IgA, IgM, IgD, and IgE. These different classes of antibodies differ in their molecular size, structure, charge, amino acid composition, and carbohydrate content. L chains are similar in all classes of immunoglobulin. Based on the amino acid sequence present in them, they are divided into two types. One is kappa chain and the other one is lambda chain. Kappa and lambda chains were described by Korngold and Lepari respectively. In one immunoglobulin molecule, either the kappa or lambda will be present, never both. Kappa and lambda in human sera occur in a ratio of 2:1. Each immunoglobulin molecule has an amino terminus as well as a carboxy terminus. Because the immunoglobulin molecules are made up of two light chains and two heavy chains which are made up of polypeptides, so this amino acid sequence will be having a amino terminus as well as a carboxy terminus. So they are aligned in such a way that this immunoglobulin molecule will be having an amino terminus as well as the carboxy terminus. So this amino terminus of the immunoglobulin molecule is forming the antigen binding site. Also in these polypeptide chains, some of the amino acid sequences will be changing and some will be constant. So the amino acid sequence in this region, means in the changing region, is called the variable region, and the other one is known as the constant region. So both the light chain and the heavy chain will be having a variable region as well as a constant region. In the case of heavy chain also, this is the variable region and this is the constant region. So the antigen binding site is made up of the variable region of the light chain, both the light chains, and the variable region of both the heavy chains. So this portion is also known as the FAB portion that we have already seen. Coming to the details of constant and variable region in the light chain and the heavy chain. First, coming to the light chain is made up of 214 amino acid residues. 107 are in the carboxy terminus and 107 are in the amino terminus. The amino acids in the carboxy terminus are found to have a constant sequence, whereas those in the amino terminus are highly variable. So the amino acid sequence in the carboxy terminus is called the constant region and the other one is called the variable region, and they are designated as CL and VL respectively. So the amino acid sequence in this constant region will decide the type of the chain. Means this particular sequence is constant and it will decide whether the chain is kappa chain or lambda chain. Whereas the amino acid sequence in the variable region, this part is going to bind with the antigen. So it will determine the immunological specificity of the immunoglobulin. So in the case of the light chain, the variable and the constant regions are equal. Heavy chains are also having the constant and variable regions. But unlike the light chains, here the constant and variable regions are not equal. The variable region is consisting of 110 amino acid residues and it is only 1/5 of the total length of the H chain. In the case of the heavy chain also, the variable region is in the amino terminus. So the antigen binding site of the immunoglobulin is made up of the variable region of the heavy chains as well as the variable region of the light chains. Carbohydrate moieties are found attached to the constant region of the heavy chains. So we said in the immunoglobulin molecule there will be 4 polypeptide chains, 2 heavy chains and 2 light chains. And in both heavy chain and light chain there is a constant region as well as a variable region, and the variable region is coming in contact with the antigen. So this is called the antigen binding site. In other words, the antigen binding site is made up of the variable region of 2 light chains and variable regions of 2 heavy chains. But the amino acid sequence of the variable regions of the light and heavy chains are not uniformly variable. Means the variable region is consisting of invariable amino acid sequence and highly variable zones. So these highly variable amino acid sequences within the variable regions are known as the hypervariable regions or the hotspots, and they are responsible for the variations in the paratope. Paratope is the actual part of the antibody that is coming in contact with the epitope of the antigen. So in both light chain and heavy chain, 3 such regions are found. That means in both light chain and heavy chain, within the variable region, there are constant regions as well as the hypervariable regions, and 3 hypervariable region will be present on each light chain and a heavy chain. So these hypervariable regions are making actual contact with the epitope of the antigen. Hence, they are known as complementarity determining regions or the CDRs, because the sequence present in the hypervariable region is complementary to the epitope. That's why it is known as the CDRs. And in one arm of the immunoglobulin, 6 CDRs will be seen. 6 CDRs will be seen, and out of these 6 CDRs, a maximum of 4 will be coming into contact with the antigen at a time. And in between, in this variable region, in between this hyper variable region, there are amino acid sequences that are constant. So these amino acid sequences which are lying in this invariable regions are known as the framework regions. So in one variable region, so this is, so in this structure we can see in variable region of a particular chain, whether it is a light chain or heavy chain, it will be having 3 hypervariable regions, that is named as CDR1, complementarity determining region 1, CDR2, CDR3. So 3 hypervariable regions or 3 hotspots are present, and in between them 4 framework regions are the FR1, named as FR1, FR2, FR3 and FR4. So each variable region is consisting of 3 hotspots or 3 hypervariable region plus 4 framework regions. So the total number of hotspots or hypervariable region in IgG immunoglobulin is 12. But in the case of the pentamer IgM, which is consisting of 5 such units of IgG, The total number of hotspots is 60, that is 12 into 5. Fc portion of the immunoglobulin. So we already mentioned the FAB portion is consisting of the constant region as well as the variable region of both heavy chain and light chain. So the Fc portion is the crystallizable fragment of immunoglobulin. So here the Fc portion is consisting only of the heavy chains. In the FAB portion, both the light chain and the heavy chains were present, but in the Fc portion, only it is consisting of the heavy chain, and in the heavy chain, the constant region of the heavy chain is coming in the Fc portion. So we can say the carbox Fc portion is in the carboxy terminus. So the Fc portion is a carboxy terminal of the immunoglobulin with only the constant region of the H chains. This Fc portion has nothing to do with the antigen binding property of the immunoglobulin, but it determines the biological properties of the immunoglobulin. This particular portion is determining the biological properties such as complement fixation, opsonization, placental transfer of the immunoglobulin, skin fixation, and catabolic rate of immunoglobulin. So the Fc portion is made up of the constant regions of the heavy chain. But some portion of the heavy chain is also involved in the Fab portion. So the segment of the heavy chain that is lying in the Fab portion is known as the FDPs. And we already said immunoglobulins are glycoproteins. So polypeptide chains are forming the main structure. In addition to that, it will be having the carbohydrate moieties. And these carbohydrate moieties are usually attached to the constant region of the heavy chain in the Fc portion. And this carbohydrate moiety is distinct for each class of immunoglobulin. Also, the prolines are present in the heavy chains, and these proline amino acid residues are the site of action of proteolytic enzyme. We already said about the action of pepsin and papain. Both these enzymes are acting at the site of the amino acid residue proline that is present in the constant region of heavy chain. Now coming to the disulfide bonds seen in immunoglobulins. Usually the disulfide bonds are formed between cysteine residues in the polypeptide chain. We have already seen that the light chain is attached to the heavy chain by one disulfide bond, and also the two heavy chains are held together by a number of disulfide bonds that may range between 1 to 5 depending upon the type of immunoglobulin. So the disulfide bond formed between two separate chains or two different chains are known as the interchain bonds. Similarly, when there is cysteine residues within the chain, such disulfide bond formation is possible, and such disulfide bonds are known as the intra-chain disulfide bonds. When this intra-chain disulfide bond formation is taking place, what happens is this polypeptide chain will fold into loop-like structures which are known as globular domains. So these are the globular domains in the heavy chain, and here we can see the globular domains in the light chain also. This loop formation is actually taking place in some homologous regions that are present in both the light chain and heavy chain. These homologous regions are usually 110 amino acids long, and within these homologous regions, cysteine residues will be there which will form disulfide bonds. So within this loop, usually 60 amino acids from this 110 amino acid homologous region will be involved in the loop formation. So these globular domains are folded into compact structures called immunoglobulin fold. So the intra-chain disulfide bond formation will produce the structures which are known as the globular domains. In the case of the light chain, we can see such two domains which are called the VL domain and the CL domain. One is in the variable region of the light chain and other one is in the constant region of the light chain. But in the case of the heavy chain, the number of domains may range between 4 to 5 depending upon the type of immunoglobulin. One domain is in the variable region and that is termed as VH, and the other domains in the heavy chain are in their constant region, and they are named as CH1, CH2, CH3 and CH4 respectively. So the domains in both the heavy chains and light chains are folded into compact structures which are known as immunoglobulin fold. So each domain is a sandwich of two beta anti-parallel pleated sheets stabilized by hydrophobic interaction between them and also by the formation of disulfide bond between the cysteine residues. Usually the domains in the variable region are slightly longer or larger than the C domains. Each domain in the constant region of the heavy chain has got separate functions. Means the function of CH1, CH2, CH3 and CH4 are different. For example, CH2 is determining the classical complement sequence. CH3 is determining the adherence to the monocyte surface. Actually, the CDRs or the complementarity determining regions are located within the domains of variable regions of both heavy chains and light chains. Hinge region of immunoglobulin. Area of the heavy chain in the constant region between the CH1 and CH2 domains is known as hinge region. This hinge region gives more flexibility to the immunoglobulin. It is more exposed to the enzymes and chemicals. For example, peptide is acting in this hinge region to divide it into two Fab fragments and one Fc fragment. This region is also rich in proline, and the presence of proline residues in the hinge region makes it more vulnerable to the proteolytic enzymes. Hinge region is also rich in cysteine residues. So cysteine residues in the hinge region of heavy chain forms the disulfide bond which keeps them together. But this hinge region is not present in all immunoglobulins. It is present in the heavy chains like gamma, alpha and delta. That means it is present in IgG, IgA and IgD. It is not present in IgM and IgE. But these immunoglobulins will be having an additional domain instead of this hinge region. We had already said in the case of heavy chain domains, the number of domains in the constant region may range between 3 to 4. So in the case of IgG, IgA and IgD, the number is 3. That is the domains in the constant region of the heavy chain. But that is 4 as this IgM and IgE is lacking the hinge region. And the additional domain in the constant region of the heavy chain in the case of IgM and IgE will be giving the properties of hinge region. That's all about the structure of antibodies.